Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing 7 60-tier GPUs from Nvidia in Red Dead Redemption 1. Starting with the oldest of the bunch, we got the GTX 660. This released in 2012, it's from the Kepler architecture, it has 2GB of VRAM, and the one that I have here is the Gigabyte Windforce 2X OC version of the card. Moving on to the next generation, we have the GTX 760, released in 2013, still on the Kepler architecture, and it has 2GB of VRAM, and this one is the MSI blower style version of the card. It's overclocked out of the box as well. Next we have the GTX 960, and this one is from the Maxwell architecture. It still has 2GB of VRAM. There's a model with 4, but I have the 2GB version here. It released almost 10 years ago in early 2015, and this one is the MSI gaming OC version of the card. Next we have a legendary GPU, one of my favorites, the GTX 1066GB. This is based on the Pascal architecture. It provided insane gains in performance as well as efficiency compared to the prior generation, and this is the Gaming X model from MSI, also factory overclocked. Next we have the first RTX GPU in this list. This is the RTX 2060, 6GB model as well. It's a Palit version of the card. It released in 2018 and it's based on the Turing architecture. Moving up a generation again, and we have the RTX 3060. This is the most popular GPU on Steam. It's the 12GB 3060, so not the slower version with 8GB, and it is based on the Ampere architecture. It's the Afox model of the card. And lastly, we have the latest 60-tier GPU, the RTX 4060. It's an 8GB card. It's from the Ada Lovelace architecture, and it released a year ago in 2023. But before we get into the game, I also tried the GTX 560 from 2011, but it didn't work because it's the 1GB version. It gave me a VRAM error. Let's play the game now on the GTX 660. Shall we? And here we have the GTX 660 installed in the system with the latest Nvidia drivers, and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs here in Tech Power Up's GPU Z. It's the 2GB GDDR5 model, and over on the left I'm pairing it with a Ryzen 5 3600X and 32GB of DDR4 3200MHz RAM. This is overkill for a 660. I'm going to be pairing this system with some of the GPUs tested here today, the lower end ones, and then for the higher end ones I'll be using a faster system. Let's go over the settings first. I am at 1080p resolution using the maximum settings. Yes, my friends, you heard it. This is a GTX 660 and I have it on maximum because it can run it. This game is very old, as you know. It's 14 years old, and as you can see inside of here, it's getting like 60, 50 frames per second. I'm gonna start counting our FPS. Let's get out there, 50s. It's very playable, actually, dropping down into the 40s still, but I mean, it's maximum settings. Obviously, we still have headroom if we want more FPS to lower down the settings here on the GTX 660 and make it even better, but if you just want to max it out on this 12-year-old GPU, you can. As you can see, this city or this little town reminds me of Valentine in Red Dead Redemption 2, actually. Very interesting. But yeah, look at this. I did not see this coming, okay? Especially because the game defaulted to low settings, alright? So I thought, yeah, surely maximum settings are not going to work, right? But I still wanted to try maximum settings for a comparison with the higher-end GPUs, you know? And I'm glad I did, because it is actually playable! The game doesn't look great. It's not like a remaster, I guess. It's just the game from 2010 ported to PC, basically, with a couple of changes here and there. But that's not really a big issue, I think. That means that you can play this awesome game and experience it, play it through the awesome story, of course, even with GPUs from 2012. And I think, well, the Ryzen 5, yes, it's very overkill for a GTX 660, and it's not from the same era as the card. That's not the point of this video. I'm just showing the GPU performance, not the CPU performance, and so we don't want any CPU bottlenecks in the system. But even if you use something like a 4th gen i5 with 16GB of RAM, it should work pretty much the same. It shouldn't bottleneck the GTX 660, and in terms of RAM, it's only utilizing 6GB of it. Even with a 2GB card and maximum, settings, it still doesn't utilize the maximum amount of VRAM that we have. It's hovering around 1.3 usage and 1.7 allocated. And that is absolutely fantastic. What is going on? Hello, people? What's happening? Wait, there's an interrogation mark over here. What is going on? Who are you?
Are you really there?
I am really here, yes.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello there.
Hi there. All right, moving on. Help Jenny by bringing her medicine. Do I have the medicine with me? Yes, I already have the medicine with me. All right, so we completed an accomplishment or an achievement. It says accomplishment on the Rockstar Games studio. Anyway, hello. We got honor as well. I'm a honorable person in this one. That's beautiful because in Red Dead Redemption 2, I really wasn't. But anyways, guys, there's not really much else to tell here with the GTX 660. Again, if you want more performance, you can have it by lowering the graphics settings or maybe by utilizing stuff like FSR, but I would just lower the graphics settings, honestly. All right, so I see this game doesn't allow you to choose FSR 3 because the Kepler GPUs with FSR 2 and up don't display an image, basically. So that's good, okay? They had that in mind, at least. Let's try to utilize resolution scaling here. I'm going to target 60 FPS. The minimum resolution for a render scale is very low at the moment. Will it work? No, not really. I just enabled FXAA and that's what's smoothing out those edges. I don't like it. It's way softer and blurrier than native resolution alone without any anti-aliasing. So yeah, I guess let's leave it right there for a 660. It might drop in some areas of the map a little bit later on, you know, Blackwater and stuff like that. People say it's more intensive, but the little town where we start is pretty interesting. And over here near some vegetation, you know, we got a lot of grass around us, and it's not as intensive as, say, like GTA 5 is around grass, so that's great to see as well. Let's check out how the GTX 760 does. And here we have it, the GTX 760 with the latest Nvidia drivers available to it, which are the same as the 660 because both of these are Kepler GPUs. You can see all of its specs here in Tech Power Up's GPU-Z as usual. It's also a 2GB GDDR5 card, and over on the left I'm pairing it with the same Ryzen 5 and the same RAM. Let's go. And going over the settings, we're still at 1080p resolution, utilizing the maximum settings, because why wouldn't we, right? Alright, this is just where we started with the GTX 660, same time of the day and everything, it's the same save file, and as you can see, it's doing quite a bit better of a job than that GTX 660, although it still drops a little bit into the 50s, but the other one dropped into the 40s and even 30s outside of here, so let's go outside. This one just drops into the low 40s, mid 40s at times. Wait, what is going on with the horses? They're flickering. What's happening, Roach? Are you okay? People are flickering too. I don't understand. Why is this happening? Is my 760 dying or something? Probably not, right? Because the FPS are actually where they should be. And honestly, I thought it was going to be way slower than this, because I thought it was a little bit closer together with the GTX 660 than it actually is. It's definitely very playable, and it's enjoyable. Once again, like, the game doesn't stutter whatsoever on these 2GB GPUs. GTX 700 series and 600 series can definitely play it, and I look forward to testing more old cards in this game, even older than these, actually. I got a GTX 580 3GB model, which I am very curious to see if it works in this title, because, well, I tried to bring the GTX 560 into this video as well, and that didn't really work because of the VRAM. It only had 1GB of VRAM, and this requires 2 gigs. But with the GTX 580, well, we don't have the VRAM issue, so it might actually be possible to play this game with a GPU from 2010, same year as the game, actually, so not that impressive, right? But still, it makes these cards viable. If you can buy one of these for like $15 in the used market, I mean, I've seen a couple for that cheap, actually. It might be worth getting now, if all you want to do is play like GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 1. Roach seems to be very agitated, like he's walking really fast. Oh, hello there. What is going on here? Why did you kill him? Buddy? What the heck? Why did I lose honor? I just saw him murdering someone and he ran away. This is the Wild West. I should be able to do this without losing honor. And who the heck saw me doing this to make me lose honor anyways? Right? Come on. Oh, boy. All right, here we go. Well, at least we got some money out of them bastards. And with all of that said, it is very empty, as you can see. There's only that town where we've been to already and saw the FPS, and that's where the FPS dropped the most. And with 1% lows of 42 frames per second, with maximum settings and averages of 51. What is going on? There's a coyote, I think. And back here, getting 40 still. It's the same thing. People are still flickering, but... well, as long as it doesn't crash, I guess that's something that they could fix, or maybe you could fix, I don't know. Maybe I just need to underclock the GPU slightly for it to be fixed. No idea, but it works just fine on a Kepler GPU, maximum settings, and that's wonderful to look at. Let's move on to a Maxwell GPU, the 960. And here we go, GeForce GTX 960 is now installed with the latest Nvidia drivers, and this time I mean the latest, because despite this GPU being from 2015, it's 9 years old at this point, almost 10 actually. If you see it right here in Tech Power Up's GPU Z, it's from January 2015. So it's almost 10 years old, and it still supports the latest drivers. Very nice, Nvidia, thank you. But moving on, you can see the rest of the specs here in Tech Power Up's GPU Z as usual, and over on the left, it's still paired with the Ryzen 5 and 32GB of RAM. Let's go over the settings again. 1080p resolution using the same settings, ultra, maximum, whatever you want to call it. It feels wrong to be testing a game in 2024 with a 10-year-old GPU on max settings and 12-year-old GPUs as well. This one shouldn't really drop from 60 FPS even. As you can see, 70s, good uplift in performance compared to the GTX 760 actually. Not bad at all. It kind of changes the experience in this particular title as well, but it drops. Holy crap, it drops. I didn't think it was going to drop because it didn't. Inside, it got like 70 plus all of the time, and with the other GPUs, it got very similar FPS on the lowest inside as outside, but here, it drops, guys. It still drops. Let's go, Roach. Let's get out of here and try to see if we can find a little event in the middle of nowhere where someone might be stranded or bitten by a snake or something like that. I don't know. Hello, boy. That's a beautiful boy right there. Could we name him Jack, guys? Should we? Should we? Is this the Jack of Red Dead Redemption 2? Maybe. Maybe. Hello, Jack. Can I pet him, actually? Get over here, boy. Get over here. I can't. All right, it is a shame, guys. We cannot pet Jack in this one. Maybe it isn't Jack. I don't know. Maybe we're going to find some cats or cougars or something like that. Feels like we should, right? At some point in the game. But yeah, in this little armadillo, I think it's the name of it, town over here. It drops into the 50s, yes, but is it a bad experience? Definitely not. If I had a GTX 960, well, it would be mine, and it would be a 960, so a GTX 960 as my main GPU, okay? I would definitely choose to play at maximum settings here at 1080p resolution. I feel it's a very comfortable experience. Out here, you can get 70 plus inside of bars and stuff like that. You can get 60 plus all of the time, but in the town areas it will drop slightly into the 50s, but it's not a problem, guys. Once again, I prefer having this than visual masterpieces with UE5 that struggle to run on a 4090 above 60 FPS and 4K native, and with a lot of stuttering at the same time, you know, like that's a terrible experience. This isn't, okay? Experience speaking, all right? It might not be visually impressive, but at least it's super playable and it can be enjoyed by a lot of people with various different hardware configurations. And that's awesome to see. I like the fact that it's playable on these old GPUs. And sorry to disrupt your piece. I'm sitting here with you. Look at them. Oh, okay. No, everything is fine. Everything is fine. I'm just here sitting at your camp for no reason, and now I will steal one of your horses. I think, yes, that's Roach over there, so these ones aren't Roach. Hello. Why are you going away alone? Oh, no. Don't you dare. Oh boy, that was close. Okay, so I've seen it drop a little bit, yeah, okay. So it does dip down into the 40s sometimes if you have a lot of vegetation on screen. So Rockstar still has a little bit of an issue with vegetation. It's not as bad as like GTA 5. If you get into an area with a lot of grass, the FPS drop like crazy. In this one, it's not like that, thankfully. I wanted to get on top of Roach, not sit by the campfire, please. This is beautiful. Look at the frame rate in the menu. It's perfect. This is the perfect GPU. Oh! Of course it is, because this is the minimum requirements GPU for this game. I would say that this is more close to like a recommended requirements GPU though. I mean, we're at max settings and 1080p resolution, right? It's doing like 60 plus FPS average, so I feel like this should have been the recommended, not the minimum. But hey, let's check if we have some other options here, because with the other two GPUs, we only had off or FXAA. But now with this one, we gain the ability of playing with FSR3, and that has the native AA super resolution here, which crashes our game. So maybe you shouldn't use FSR3 with your 960, I guess. Let's move on to the 1060. And here we go, GTX 1066 Gigabyte is now installed with the latest Nvidia drivers as well, not manually overclocking it as usual, and you can see all of its specs here in Tech Power Up's GPU Z. And over on the left, I'm pairing it this time with the other PC that I'm going to be utilizing from now on. It has the Ryzen 9 7950X 3D CPU with half of its cores disabled, making it pretty much the same as the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, 32 gigabytes of DDR5, and well, it's extremely overkill, of course. If I paired the 1060 with the Ryzen 5 3600X, we'd probably see the same results as with the Ryzen 9 here. I'm just using this because I already had the GTX 1060 installed in this system. Let's go. And once again, we're playing it at 1080p resolution using the same ultra settings here, but this time I'm also going to try it at 1440p because this is a legend of a GPU for a reason. And that reason is this is like 80% faster than the GTX 960 that came before it, and it cost like $50 more or something like that. It's crazy, guys. The Pascal architecture was amazing, and also look at the power consumption. Like, come on. Obviously, it's a little bit lower than what it should be because most of the time this GPU is not maxing out. Well, down here it actually is. Inside of the room, it wasn't maxing out. It was capped by the 144 FPS cap in the game, but as you can see, we can get like what? It's double the performance of the 960 almost. Absolute insanity over here, my friends. This is the power of Pascal, and we never saw anything like this happening again. Aside from the likes of the RTX 4090, you know, that GPU was a big uplift in performance, like 60% faster compared to the RTX 3090 or 3090 Ti. But on the mid-range in the 40 series, I thought it was going to be a Pascal revolution again, like it was with the 10 series, but no, down the stack, the GPUs just became less and less powerful. And interesting thing is, the GTX 1060 is the first GPU that, and this one that I'm using right now, the Gaming X, this was the first GPU that I bought with my own money, without being a used GPU or inside a pre-built system. Back when the 10 series came out, I was looking forward to buying the RX 480 actually, not the 1060, but that was sold out everywhere. And well, 1060 was a little bit faster anyway, so I went with it, and it gave me insanely awesome and beautiful gaming experiences back then. It was a different time. We get 111 FPS in the city, 90 FPS, 1% low, extremely good experience at 1080p. If you're playing at this resolution with 1060, which you likely are, there is no need to upgrade, at least for Red Dead Redemption 1. So let's go up to 1440p resolution here, still utilizing the highest settings in the game, and actually, fun fact, I played a lot of 1440p back in 2016 with the GTX 1060. It was a great GPU for the games of those days, you know, Battlefield 1 and stuff like that. I remember playing at 1440p medium settings, 60 FPS plus. It was awesome, okay? 1440p is actually 78% higher than 1080p resolution in terms of pixel count, so it's quite a big deal, okay? If you have a 1080p display with a GTX 1060, what I'd do is I would enable DSR inside of the NVIDIA control panel to play at 1440p resolution with your monitor. It will give you a better anti-aliasing, basically. And I mean, you might want it here in Red Dead Redemption because it only gives you FXAA as an AA option, which is pretty bad. I mean, it blurs out everything. I really don't like it here. I prefer to leave it at native resolution. It's crispy, it's sharp, no problems with blurriness, no TAA crap either, you know. So that's great to see. And you still get really, really high FPS, up to 100 frames per second, 100 plus at times if nothing is happening. It's kind of insane, guys. Once again, I really am enjoying to test this game out on these different GPUs here today. And it's very interesting as well to see how the generations have improved, right? Or how the 60-tier GPUs have improved over generations. I think we found Bob's hideout, my friends. All right. Okay. They're in this direction. Oh, wait, there's a guy over there. Oh, wait. No way that missed. I really think that shouldn't have missed. Okay, anyway, let's go. These must be the Bob Driscolls. What are their names? I don't know. I actually know. There's another one over there. Come on. All right. Think we're fine. Oh, more of them are coming. More of them. Oh, wait. That's a friendly guy. Thank you so much. We have friends. Hi. Dude, how's it going? Can I talk to him? Rescue the... Oh, okay. His daughter is in the bathroom, I guess. Okay. Interesting. Which one of these was Bob? What are you doing, Roach? Why do you want to get inside of the house as well? I don't understand. Let me go. Roach. All right.
Play it smart, buddy.
Right.
Get on.
Smart? No, I'm not playing it smart. I'm just gonna kill you right away. Thank you. That one was definitely Bob, my friends. We made it. We did it. We killed Bob with the GTX 1060. This is great. Alright guys, since 1440p ran really well with the 1060, why not try some 4K resolution, right? Here we go, 4K max settings, and it's still getting 60s inside of here. Holy crap, that's fantastic. I was thinking maybe this is worse than... what? Are you feeling okay? What is going on? Why are you there, buddy? But I was thinking this is probably worse than GTX 660, right? At 1080p resolution. But no. The 1060 at 4K is faster than the GTX 660 at 1080p res. And it's actually close, I guess, to what the GTX 760 and the 960 did over here. You can see the huge generational improvement right here. Right, guys? I mean, at 1440p it was better than 960 as well. It never drops from 60 FPS there. Time of the day is different now, actually. That's weird because I loaded the previous save game. It should be the same. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I've seen that during nighttime the game gets pretty much the same FPS as daytime in this one. And, well, if you want to play at 4K, maybe locking the FPS to 40 frames per second is the best option. So let's move on now to the RTX 2060. And here we have the first RTX series GPU in this video, the RTX 2060 with the latest Nvidia drivers. I'm not manually overclocking it once again, and you can see all of its specs here in Tech Power-Up's GPU-Z as usual. Over on the left, we're still pairing it with the same Ryzen 9 CPU as with the 1060 and the same 32GB of DDR5. And going over the settings, we're back to 1080p resolution using the same Ultra settings or Max settings. And well, of course, starting right here, the 2060 gets locked to 144 FPS. Over in this lobby part of the bar, we're still getting 144 FPS, although GPU usage went up to like 97-98% most of the time. So it is right on the edge of dropping some frames, but it's still not dropping a lot of them. And out here, it should, yeah, okay, finally, it's starting to drop slightly into the 130s, 140s. It is awesome, of course. I mean, everybody saw it coming at this point. The RTX 2060 was actually a decent uplift in performance compared to the 1060. The main issue with it was very expensive compared to the 1060 with an MSRP of like $330 or whatever it was on the 2060. Yeah, compared to the $250 on the 1060. I think the price wasn't really right on these 20 series GPUs, and they probably priced them higher because of the new ray tracing capabilities, but we all know that, well, it's a 2060, it can't really do ray tracing very well either. Anyways, moving on, I think that's about it for 1080p. You're gonna get a locked 144 FPS most of the time, especially out here in the open fields and so on, and in town areas, you're gonna get most of the time 130 plus. Well, let's go up to 1440. Here we have it, 2560 by 1440 resolution, ultra or max settings, and it is still above 100 FPS. See, it's still a high refresh rate experience. Even here, guys, it's beautiful. I really like this, okay? I like to see well-optimized titles. Granted, yes, again, you gotta keep in mind that this is an old game and it doesn't have any new features, really, in terms of its graphics. But, come on, it's nice to see a game be so smooth. With all of the stuff that we've seen so far this year. Oh my goodness. Big upgrade as well coming from the 1060 actually. I thought they were going to be a little bit closer together, you know, but again, 2060 was a decent uplift in performance. It just cost way too much back when it released. But here today, still quite a decent budget GPU if you can find it used for like $100. What? I'm hearing shots. See, those little events that I was telling you about all over the map? Hello, buddy. I'm here. Is Bob after you? All right. Gonna get them bobsters, actually. Yes, there we go. There we go. Only 2 of them, I think. Why do I get less honor by killing bandits? That's what I don't get. All right. What is going on? What? Hello? Now that people are aware of your crimes. Are you serious? I helped him. He's running away from me and reporting a crime. Are you kidding? We got $57. Maybe by the end of the testing of the 2060, we'll have $100. What is needed for the 2060. And well, the game actually crashed after I applied the 4K resolution, so we can't really get the $100 unfortunately anymore because we're back here. But with 4K res in the 2060, we're kind of getting the same FPS as the 1060 at 1440p, right? That's pretty impressive. Maybe a little bit lower out here. Yes, okay, so dropping down to low 70s. I guess the 1060 was exactly the same, actually, at 1440p resolution. Very interesting comparisons here that we are finding, my friends. Hello, Jack. How are you going, buddy? I still wish to find a cougar or a mountain lion or something like that to be... My God, what are you doing, Roach? Please, move in that... Oh, he's peeing. Oh... I didn't know they could do that in this game. Actually, I don't remember the last time that I saw a dog pee in a game. This is crazy. It's awesome stuff. Red Dead Redemption, my friends. It was probably ahead of its time, I guess. Red Dead 2 definitely was ahead of its time at the very least. Anyway, guys, yeah, 80s, 60 plus is what you're gonna see. Look at this, water. We haven't come across water yet, I think, in any of the tests. So it's nice to see this. Will Roach drink the water? Will Roach traverse the river? Yes, he is. No, he's not. Dead. Oh boy, reminds me of Vice City now. Alright guys, the RTX 3060 12GB is now installed with the latest Nvidia drivers. I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here. Again, it's the 12GB version. There's also the 8GB version, which sucks. And over on the left, I'm pairing it with the same CPU and same RAM as the previous 2 GPUs. And we're back to 1080p resolution now, using the same maximum settings with the 3060. And obviously, inside of here, we get exactly the same FPS as we saw with the 2060, 144 all of the time. But with that other GPU, we saw it go up to like 98, 99% usage here, and dropping a couple of frames sometimes, you know, to 143, 144. This one, or 42 actually, this one is going up to like 90-ish% sometimes. doesn't reach that very often, as you can see, like 93% was the maximum. So it doesn't really max out completely, and out here it still stays at 144 frames per second, which is nice. But as we've been seeing throughout these years, the 2060 to 3060 uplift wasn't huge. It's still measurable, obviously, but it's not going to change your experience in this particular title, that's for sure, right? Anyway, let's move on to 2560 by 1440 resolution, still using the same everything else, basically, ultra settings. And here, out in the open, we get 144 frames per second. That's basically what we saw, right, with the 2060. I need to kill these guys. And inside of the town, it still didn't drop from 120 FPS or something like that with the 2060, which is very impressive. But here, with the 2060, we're seeing it stuck at 144 frames per second. Pretty nice stuff, actually. Very, very impressive at 1440p resolution. Well, very impressive because none of the recent titles that we've been seeing run like this, but this is also not a recent title, so I gotta keep that in mind and keep reminding myself of that. But yeah, as you can see, for these older titles, the 3060 will deliver a fantastic experience at 1440p. High refresh rate all the way through. But you know what? There's another interesting thing about the RTX 3060. It's still the most popular GPU on Steam. And it's great that it can run Red Dead Redemption absolutely flawlessly, even at 1440p. I mean, at this point, even 4K will be high refresh rate or close to it, right? That's amazing. But it's also very interesting that they recommend the RTX 2070 for this game. It's the recommended requirements ask for an RTX 2070. I feel like Rockstar was just trolling us with the requirements, especially given that these requirements for this game are higher than the requirements for Red Dead Redemption 2, which looks 10 times better. Maybe not 10 times, but maybe 10 times, right? That's a beautiful game. I should probably make a video trying to find the actual minimum requirements for this game. That should be interesting. Anyway, that's it for 1440p. We're playing now at 4K resolution, still using the same max settings. And I mean, this is totally expected, getting 100 FPS around here, a little bit faster than the 2060 that picked at like, what, 105 FPS or something like that. This is comfortably in the 100 to 110 FPS range outside of the city, of course, in these plain fields. Over here, still getting hundreds. Okay, dropping down into the 90s sometimes, but it's high 90s. It's really smooth of an experience still, guys. Wow, it is high refresh rate. I can definitely feel the extra frames compared to a 60 FPS experience. That's for sure. So 90 plus FPS at 4K max settings on a 3060. Sounds good, right? That's because it is good. Let's move on now to the most recent 60-tier GPU, the RTX 4060. Here we go, 4060 is now installed with the latest drivers, and by the way, I'm running DDU every single time I reinstall a GPU to clean install the drivers, okay, and you can see all of its specs right here in TechPowerUp's GPU-Z. This one has 8 GB of VRAM instead of 12. Should have had 12 if the 3060 has 12. Over on the left, we're pairing it with the same CPU and same RAM. Let's go. Starting at the 1080p resolution using the same ultra settings. And well, I'm gonna keep things shorter here at the lower resolutions because it's just gonna be capped at 144 FPS. You can see that it's not going over 90% GPU usage like the 3060 was. Okay, so it kind of feels like the jump from the 3060 to the 4060 might have been bigger than the jump from the 2060 to the 3060. Maybe, going by the GPU utilizations at least, you know. But yeah, you can expect 144 FPS capped all the time with the 4060 in Red Dead Redemption 1. That's going to be a fantastic experience. So let's bump it up to 1440p, and I think the same still applies at this resolution. It's getting 144 FPS capped, and it might dip down sometimes, like 90-something% GPU utilization, 97% at times. But over here, at least in this city area or this town area, why does this... What the heck? Alright, so with the 3060, we already saw it capping out at 144 FPS a lot of times at 1440p resolution. With the 4060, it actually stays there way more often. It's pretty incredible, actually. Again, going into this, seeing the requirements and stuff, I really thought it was going to be a bad experience with some GPUs, but I'm glad to see you can actually reach the limits of the game before you reach the limits of the 4060 with maximum settings at 1440p. It's great, guys. It's really nice to see this kind of performance. Let's bump it up to 4K, and at 3840 by 2160 with the ultra settings, we're getting 100 plus. Magnificent, my friends. Very beautiful to see this once again. The 3060 was getting lower than 100 FPS sometimes, you know, dropping down into the mid-90s. This is comfortably above 100 FPS pretty much at all of the time. Yeah, it doesn't even drop into the low 100s very often, as you can see. Really stable stuff even at 4K resolution. What I recommend you to do is that if you have a 1080p display with your RTX 4060 PC, I would probably grab the PC, plug it into a 4K TV, play with a controller as well, and play at 4K native resolution. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, unless you really want high refresh rate experience, obviously, which is very nice, even though this is a single player title. You can tell the difference, and feels awesome like this. But yeah, if you don't have a 4K high refresh rate TV, well, you might want to stick to that 1080p monitor. It's not going to look bad by any means, even at 1080p resolution, especially because this game doesn't use TAA baked in, you know, that you can't disable. So that's great to see as well. But yeah, you should probably utilize, at the very least, DSR or DLDSR if you have a 1080p monitor, because this is overkill. Yeah, for this game, the RTX 4060 is overkill at 1080p resolution. It might even be at 1440p resolution as well. Alright, anyway, I'll leave it right there for the 4K resolution. 100 FPS, 1% lows is awesome. Well. So the graphics card is low on VRAM at 8K resolution. This is interesting. But it's still working. Okay, I thought it was just gonna crash, but no, it's still loading in. But you know, it's pretty weird that it says that we're running out of VRAM. And it's also pretty weird that it says that we only have 4 gigabytes of VRAM. What? That is completely wrong. We obviously have 8. It's allocating 7.7 gigs. Anyway, this is 7680 by 4320. Max settings still, guys. 4 times the resolution of 4K. What the hell? Okay, so it gave us that error for a reason. We broke the game. No. Oh, this is awesome. All right, what if I go outside? Come on, it was in this direction, right? Yes, okay, these are the stairs over here. All good, we're doing this. It's still very playable, guys. We can get out and get in. Okay, flying people. Obviously, after that first error hit, I knew something would be off. Maybe it would crash before loading into the game or something. But it is so much better. We can actually play it without buildings, basically. We got wall hacks right here, guys. If you play this multiplayer, if they introduce like a multiplayer mod or something, you could play at 8K resolution with an 8GB GPU, and you would see through walls. Oh boy, the developers obviously need to take a look at this and fix it, but wow, I was definitely not expecting this, especially given that the game is fully playable here. It's just missing the buildings. That's been it for this one, guys. Thanks very much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed this look at the 60-tier GPUs through the ages in Red Dead Redemption 1. Stay tuned in for more content in this game. I'll keep bringing it here into the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.